Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a crazy current events story. This is a series in which I react to ridiculous things that are going around. We'll have some gameplay in the background. And I'm working on a lore video right now for GTA 5, and I'm going to have a money guide later this week for whatever event week that's going to be in GTA Online. But anyways, this is actually an update on a story that I actually covered 2.5 years ago. So 2.5 years ago, I actually covered this, in which Ubisoft Montreal had gotten swatted. Now, if you don't know what swatting is basically when somebody, as a stupid and dangerous prank, they call up the police. They say that there's a terrorist of a bomb, or they'll say that there's an active shooter, they'll say that somebody has killed people, and it's basically an attempt to try to get the SWAT team, these, special tactical police, to run in and rush into an area. And this is not just a waste of police resources, but it's also extremely dangerous, because when the SWAT team is going in there, the only thing they know is that there's a call, that there's a dangerous, shooter, some guy with a bomb, somebody has possibly killed somebody. They know it's a very dangerous situation. They're not thinking that this could possibly be a prank. They're thinking this is the call that they got. They're going into the area. And even when people tell them that there's nothing there, nothing's going on, they still have to check the area. They still have to clear the area to make sure that there's nothing bad going on, that everything's fine. And this is very dangerous, because when the SWAT team is going into an area, the people there have no idea. Doors get busted down. SWAT team rushes in. Somebody could run, panic, and a SWAT team member could accidentally shoot them. Something bad can happen. There was a man who had actually gotten swatted years ago in Kansas, and he had actually been tragically killed by the police. There was a miscommunication. Different cops were telling him to do different things, and one of the police officers shot him, and this whole thing went to a stupid Call of Duty argument, and one of the players had actually given the other players an address and dared him to swat him, but the address that he gave him wasn't even his actual address, and I believe that both of them had been arrested for that. But the point here is that swatting can be extremely dangerous, and somebody can get seriously hurt or possibly even killed. And so years ago, in November of 2020, somebody had swatted Ubisoft Montreal's offices, called them in, said that there was a threat on the premises. The SWAT team came in, and eventually they realized that it was a prank and it was nonsense.
It's just so surreal. It's so close to home. It's too close to home. My legs are shaking right now.
This was the scene of a massive police operation Friday after reports of a possible hostage situation, later called a false alarm. Around 1:15 p.m., officers responded to a call about a possible hostage situation at the Ubisoft building and cordoned off several streets in the area, including Saint Laurent, Clark Street, and Saint Dominique Street. The SPVM tweeting out around 4 p.m. that there was no threat found and the building was being evacuated. Officer Julien Levesque told City News that all evacuees are being questioned.
However, though, there is some good news. The idiot who had done this has actually been arrested, and he was actually finally sentenced. So right here, and I will link this article down below, Rainbow Six Siege cheater sentenced for swatting Ubisoft Montreal offices. French gamer gets 3 years of community service from Paris court. Yeah, now this is something that's getting me seriously really irritated, because this guy dialed from another country. He dialed from France, probably thinking that he wasn't going to get into any kind of trouble. But here's the thing about this, is this 3 years of community service, this is an absolute joke. I don't know who the judge was, who the courts were that thought that this was a good idea, but this is a stupid, stupid idea. 3 years of community service. There should be jail time for this. There should be much more serious punishments, because this is basically just a slap in the wrist. Somebody could have gotten seriously hurt or killed, and this guy just gets 3 years of community service for that, not even any kind of jail time. But let's read through the article here. The French gamer responsible for a hoax hostage call that evacuated the Ubisoft Montreal office in November 2020 was sentenced this week in a Paris court to 3 years of community service. According to the Montreal Gazette, Whitehound's 3-year sentence, if I'm reading that correctly, includes punishment for several other charges related to a DDoS attack on a French government office and against Minecraft developer Mojang. 22-year-old Yanni made the false report to police on November 13, 2020, claiming that hostages have been taken within the Ubisoft office in Montreal. A police tactical unit arrived in armored vehicles and evacuated the building. Other employees took refuge in barricaded rooms and on the building's roof before discovering ensuring there was no threat. The Ubisoft Montreal's building in the city's Mile End neighborhood can house thousands of workers. Court documents later revealed that Wai Houn was a Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege player, upset that he's been banned from the game allegedly more than 80 times. My god, what the hell? How do you get banned 80 times from Rainbow Six Siege? What kind of toxic scumbag this guy might have been. Later, it was revealed that he'd swatted the studio, the act of making a false emergency call to send a heavy police response to the victim's address 2 other times and harassed other players in the same way. So he's done this to other people. He hasn't just done this to Ubisoft, apparently. Yanni used a computer in his parents' home and routed the host calls through Russian servers. The Montreal Gazette said, even after being charged, Yanni asked Canadian newspaper La Presse to unban his Rainbow Six Siege account. Can you say that I am kindly asking the Ubisoft team to unban my account, please, Yanni said. I have put over 1,500 in cosmetic enhancements in my profile. My god. Damn. This guy was obviously some kind of toxic scumbag, massive trash talker. He probably DDoSed a lot of people offline as well. That probably happened. And there's a reason that this guy has gotten banned over 80 times. And here's the thing. I don't know who would spend $1,500 on microtransaction cosmetics. But just because you spent $1,500 on cosmetics, that doesn't mean that you can't get banned for toxic behavior. Just because you spend more money than another player doesn't mean that you're not going to get banned. And in this case, you didn't just get banned for toxic behavior, but you put people's lives at risk at that studio. You think that they're going to unban you? My god, what the hell is wrong with this guy? The Montreal Gazette reported that Yanni will be required to compensate victims, undergo treatment for a mental health problem, and either work or undergo training as part of his sentence. Mental health problem. He knows what he did was wrong. Here's the thing. I can't speak for France because I don't know what France's laws are like. But I can tell you this. In America, in order to generally prove that somebody had committed a crime in court, you need to demonstrate both mens rea and actus reus. That is a Latin term. Now, mens rea is the guilty state of mind. And actus reus is the guilty act itself. So you have to prove that somebody has a guilty state of mind, that they're planning on committing the crime, and then they have a and then they actually commit the crime itself. Now, somebody can also be charged with a crime without having a guilty state of mind if they didn't realize they broke the law. This would be an example of strict liability. But in this case, when they're asking him to undergo treatment for a mental health problem, I don't understand what the court is trying to do here. Are they trying to say that he's somehow less responsible for that? He knew very well what he was doing, and I can show you that. The guilty state of mind. Do you know what the guilty state of mind is? The guilty state of mind right here is that the fact that he tried to use Russian servers to hide his tracks when he actually called the police on this. That shows that he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he tried to cover this up. He tried to hide. He definitely had a guilty state of mind, and he did the guilty act. So there should be some actual punishments for this. Required to compensate victims, we don't really get much more information than that, but there should be some prison time for this, prison time. This shouldn't just be that he gets 3 years of community service, because this is a slap on the wrist. That is pretty much what this is. And a Ubisoft representative acknowledged the court's decision in a statement to Polygon without commenting on the punishment itself. In this trial, we were committed to representing the interests of our employees who were affected by this false hostage-taking alert at our Montreal studio, they said. It was important for us to denounce this violent and unacceptable incident. Out of respect for our employees who were affected by this event, we will not comment further. Yeah, no wonder that they're definitely not gonna unban the guy. But 3 years of community service for putting people's lives in danger. That is a slap on the wrist. And this is really dangerous too, because other criminals can see this. Well, I know it's specifically just to France, but other criminals in France could see this. And they could see, if we do this, we're only going to get a slap on the wrist. We're only going to get a few years of community service in the event that we do get caught. And so that is very dangerous. If criminals know that they're just gonna get a slap on the wrist for stuff like this, like there should be much more serious punishments for this, much jail and prison time. I don't know what the French courts were honestly thinking with that sentence there. But let me know what you guys think down below. But this guy has the nerve to even ask Ubisoft to still unban his account after all of that, and I hope he stays permanently banned. What a toxic scumbag. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.